Thank you for joining me, everyone. Charles Moscowitz here live at YouTube, doing my maiden live broadcast right from my YouTube channel. It's amazing what you can do this day and age. You know, what a poor schlub like me can do, excuse me, but with a laptop, a webcam, and a mic. Just want to talk a little bit, for starters, about what I see as a radicalizing of the abortion issue on a state level, and at the same time, a good silver lining to this process. You have here both extremes taking over state houses. On the one hand, you've got in New York State a law passed which basically allows for abortion right up to the moment of birth. Some would even argue after the birth, which of course is not an abortion, it's infanticide, and which is a practice that's so evil that even the ancient Romans abolished it. You know, this is it's never been legal in a free society. And yet in New York State, they vote this new law and people are cheering and you know, you've got celebrations over this and applauding. We could get into why all of a sudden New York State needs a new abortion law, but that's another question. I wonder about that. On the other side of the spectrum, and you have, by the way, just to further that, you have the refusal by the Democrats in the House of Representatives to vote for a Born Alive resolution, which says that they ban the practice of killing the baby born alive as a result of an botched abortion. So the radicalism of that, the extremism of that, cannot be in any way overstated. On the other hand, you now have in Alabama and other states as well, the passage of abortion laws that would ban abortion in just about every case, including incest, life of the mother, you know, health of the baby, and which could theoretically put an abortion doctor in prison for 99 years. I would suggest that both of these extremes don't reflect most views of most Americans. And it seems to me that this is a setup toward creating a new dialectic that will rip the country apart and will hope and might possibly affect the next election. And that maybe it's meant to be so. My position on it is, I think, like most Americans, I despise abortion. I think it's barbaric and evil, unless there's a really damn good reason for it, such as the mother will die unless she has an abortion. You know, either she has the abortion or she dies. That's saving the life of the mother. That's paramount. But beyond that, the idea of having an abortion because a child has some kind of a defect, I mean, whatever happened to the rights of disabled people, right? I mean, how callous is that? You know, what about the idea of protecting a sane, moral, sovereign nation protects the lives of its citizens, including the unborn, including the most vulnerable of all lives, and that is the baby. Now, having said that, I also recognize realities, which is that probably abortion has to be legal, you know, in this country. We can't ban it. We can do, I think that it has to be legal, at least in the very early stages. Jewish law, and I am a Jew, indicates that abortion, while condemned and never condoned, is technically legal up to 40 days after conception. I know that differs from Catholic law, which is much more religious, or Islamic law, which is much more liberal. I think Islam, they allow abortion, right? It's more liberal than Roe versus Wade. But I think that it's where I come from. It's a medium in this idea that the soul doesn't enter the baby, the womb, until after 40 days, because that was the number of days or the number of years that the children of Israel wandered in Sinai before reaching and entering the promised land. And again, that it's not condoned, it's not accepted, but it's legal. And as Bill Clinton, former President Bill Clinton, famously said, even though I doubt if he meant it, abortion should be legal, safe, and rare. And I think that if we run on that maxim and also engage in a huge effort at public education and moral education in terms of what abortion actually is scientifically, what it does to the unborn baby, what it does to the mother, what it does down the road to a woman who's had an abortion, and then when she's older, she's depressed and she's regretful of it, what it does to society, the coarsening of it. I think that we could reach a happy medium in that it will be legal but rare, and not performed. And as far as the idea of these states passing radical laws, both banning and permitting, this is an assertion of the rights of the states to regulate these matters, which was where it existed before Roe versus Wade corrupted the whole system by allowing the federal government to seize the prerogative of regulating abortion under this false idea that a woman's right to privacy. I mean, do you have a private right to murder somebody? I mean, you don't have a private right to kill, to have an abortion. But putting that aside, the fact is that states are asserting their sovereignty. They are reflecting the values of their citizens, however wrong we may believe those values are, and certainly in the case of New York. And it does set the stage for a challenge to Roe versus Wade at the Supreme Court level, which it's meant to do, by the way, at least in Alabama. And in the case that this does reach the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court undoes Roe versus Wade, which everyone admits, including the biggest supporters, was questionable constitutionally, and has corrupted and perverted the entire constitutional process ever since, that if they do undo it, then it will go back to the states. And then New York State can have as radical a pro-abortion law as they want, if that's what the people of that state want. And Alabama can have as strong an anti-abortion law as they want, which is the right of sovereign citizens. That's how the system is supposed to work. America is a federated republic of sovereign states. And social questions such as abortion, I would argue, ought to be regulated by the states and the people who live in those states. I mean, the state of Nevada, for example, has legalized prostitution, legalized gambling. Do I support those things? Absolutely not. But the state of Nevada, the citizens there do, and that's what they've done. That's their law. The state of Utah is dry, no alcohol. Do I support that? No. But if that's what the people of Utah want, and they express that through their legislators, who then pass laws signed by their governor, then that's something to be respected. It's called a democratic approach in a Republican system. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for joining my live YouTube stream. Charles Moscowitz. I have a good interview coming up, by the way, that's going to be Skyped and downloaded with Joshua Douglas. He's the author of a book called Vote for Us: How to Take Back Our Elections and Change the Future of Voting. He's a professor at the University of Kentucky, and he's an expert on voter fraud, voter suppression. Thanks for joining me, everyone.